I'm Corbett Wall with DB Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, October the 3rd, brought to you in part by Macrocin. Macrocin is a bold, straight-shooting telithromycin injection that does what it's supposed to do for you, for your cattle, and for your bottom line with no BS. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards got 5,000 head for the regular Monday feeder cattle auction here today. Don't forget about their commingling. It's a free service, guys, for you small producers. Not going to have a ring full or even close to it. If you just got a mixed bag of calves with by the time you get them sexed and sized, you're going to be selling singles. Get them there by 5 o'clock on Sunday, and you can throw them in with other like producers, and they will get them into bigger bunches. They feature them at the high line at 11 o'clock on sale day. They sell better. It's a free service to you guys. Also got a special cow sale on October the 12th. Don't forget that. It's National Dead Calf Month again here in October. Yeah, we see it every October. 3/4 or 75% of our calves born here in the United States are born the first half of the year. Nobody wants to fall calf, so we have way too many calves to sell this time of year. When people are weaning them, but actually they're not really weaning them very often, and it's been so dry this year that most of them are going to be weaned on the way to the sale barn. You still need to give them their vaccinations, guys. If a calf is fresh off the cow, had vaccinations, had 2 rounds at least, it helps them a lot, and it's not as big a discount as what you normally see. But I was traveling last week in Northern California with Dr. Joe Gillespie there with Boehringer Ingelheim, and part of his presentation and the part that stuck with me the most was that 50% of the calves sold in the United States have had no shots, nothing, never seen a needle. And that may surprise you, but just think about it a little bit, and it really doesn't. But if you can get your hands on those calves, give them a couple rounds vaccinations, even if you're not going to wean them, because it sure helps. And we've got rumors here late in the weekend that there could be some kind of a global currency crisis coming out here on Monday. It's caused your overnight grain markets to be higher, and something's going to happen here. Something's going to give. I'm not sure if it's going to affect our US dollar or something in Asia, but just some rumblings going on, and kind of keep your ear to the ground here early on Monday. Let's talk about your board for last week on your cattle futures. October live cattle futures. Monday was down 77, Tuesday up a dime, Wednesday down 52 cents, Thursday up $1.07, and Friday down 85 cents, with October live cattle futures ending the week at 143.27, down 98 cents. For the week. December ended the week at 147.05, down $1.50. Feeder cattle futures for October. Monday was down $1.27. Tuesday was down 95. Wednesday was down $1.12. You're seeing a trend here. But then Thursday bounced back in a big way, up 232, and then took all of that and more back on Friday, down 315 on Friday. With October feeder cattle futures ending the week at 174.17, down nearly $4 for the week. Ouch. Down $3.95. November was down $3.73, ending the week at 174.62. Corn ended the week in regular trading at 6.77 cents a bushel. That was up just 3/4 cent for the week. Beans were down hard last week, down 61 cents for a November new crop at 13.64 3/4 cents a bushel. Talk about your fat cattle trade last week up through Thursday. It's everything we've got rounded up. 78,300 head. Your market was mostly steady. And actually, you might have seen a little bit of weakness here and there, but actually your weighted averages are going to be up just a smidge from the previous week. But you look at your live sales of steers and heifers up through Thursday last week, ranged from 141 to 148, which is mostly steady. Your weighted average on live steers was 144.66, up about 10 cents compared to the end of the previous week. And on your dress sales, steers and heifers, they were also mostly steady from 226 to 233. The weighted average on dress steers of 229.12, and that was up about a dime compared to the same time the previous week there. We did have a little bit more trade on Friday, not a lot. Of course, Colorado's confidential. We haven't seen anything out of there for months and months and months. Iowa, 2,900 head confirmed on Friday. Almost 30,000 for the week. Had a pretty brisk trade in the northern plains last week. Live sales on Friday, 144 to 148, which is pretty typical of what we saw last week, and 226 dressed on one deal. Nebraska, only 300 head confirmed on Friday. And for the week, 35,500. So pretty good movement in Nebraska also. And we did have some cattle quoted live in Nebraska on Friday at 140. I'm not sure if somebody thought the world was coming to an end or what, but they had them quoted in the 65 to 80% choice cattle. You know, they could get 143 all day long for them in the Southern Plains. Why they would sell them at 140, I don't know. Did have a dressed sale there at 228 on Friday. Kansas had no sales on Friday, only 8,600 for the week, which is very light for them. Texas did not have brisk trade. They had 100 head confirmed on Friday at the same steady market of 143, and for the week less than 8,000 head. So that's not very good movement in Texas either. Southern Plains was very slow last week. Box beef cutout values down hard again. And we keep thinking we're going to find a bottom on these box beef cutout values because seasonally it's getting to the point in time where we usually do find a bottom, but they just keep fading. Choice, your weighted average on all of last week's sales, choice cuts, 246.73. That was down $3.32 compared to the weighted average from the previous week. And the heck of it is, your late sales on Friday afternoon were $3 lower than that. Selects weighted average on all of last week's sales, 220.74, down 340, and your late sales on Friday were just about a half a dollar or so lower than that. So not as much lower than that on Selects. Selects have been very volatile. I mean, up big one day and down big the next. But choice select spread on your weighted average movement last week, just short of $26 between choice and select, and 670 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings reported there. Your slaughter continues to run at a good pace. They keep saying that they're going to dial it back because they don't like the price. Packers are still making, you know, $200 a head plus, and they're still harvesting quite a few cattle. 664,000 for last week, 3,000 less than the big week the week before, and 24,000 more than the same week a year ago. So I mean, they're going right through them, and we've got progressively tighter supplies. I know you guys are getting tired of hearing me talking about how the market's going to get better, and it keeps fading, at least on the feeder cattle and calf side, but we are going into a time where you know, our demand is going to outweigh supply, and we're going to get higher prices here. It just has to happen. I mean, there's just going to be that many fewer calves and yearlings around. But your cattle slaughter year to date is running 1.5% higher than a year ago. Hogs down 3.1% year to date. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction late in the week to end the week at 174.33 last week, and that was down 278 for the week. Your sale barns across the country quoted feeder cattle $2 to $5 lower, and calves $8 to $15 lower, and most of that pressure was due to a large supply and a heavy percentage of balling calves, and a lot of them without those shots that I've been talking to you about. But $8 to $15 lower was also the fault of just nowhere to run these calves. I mean, people want to buy calves to turn out and graze, not so much to feed the calves, and there's no forage anywhere to run calves on. Our winter wheat forage, we thought we had high hopes of that at planting time because we did get some moisture around then. Haven't seen a drop yet. It is super dry. Texas Panhandle, North Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, all your big hard red winter wheat regions are just bone dry, guys, and until we see some moisture there, we're going to continue to see calves under pressure because there's just nothing to feed them. And like I said, people don't want to buy calves to shut them up through the winter. Let's talk about your big sales. Late last week and over the weekend, how about Fort Scott, Kansas? 1,900 head of feeders there on Saturday in Fort Scott, Kansas. And you look at this automated market report, they had a fairly well-tested market throughout. Look at your best tested weights. How about 240 head of 5-weight steer calves, average 546 with a weighted average price of $174.70. 234 head of 8-weight feeder steers in Fort Scott, Kansas, averaged $842 with a weighted average price there of $169.08. And look down at the heifers, how much cheaper they are. 249 head of 5-weight heifer calves, average $547 with a weighted average price of $150.73. We're still not seeing hardly anybody buying heifers for replacements, and we're not seeing a lot of people keeping heifers back for replacement. We've got to get after that, guys. At some point, it's going to pay off. Look at your Zoetis stick-out sale of the day. It was Fort Pierre Livestock Auction, Fort Pierre, South Dakota, on Friday. They had their 75th anniversary sale. Congratulations to them. Had 7,700 head of cattle on offer. Big sale. Compared to the last good test, which was 2 weeks before, your feeders are $3 to $8 lower. And that's just the market, guys. Even if you're having a 75th anniversary sale, the market's the market. But look at these strings of steer calves here. Big bunches of them weighing from $370 to $570, all bringing well over $2 a pound there, and including these two loads right there, mid 5-weight steer calves, both bringing $223.50. That's nothing to sneeze at. How about some individual quotes from around the circuit? St. Onge Livestock, that's Justin Tupper, my buddy up there in the Black Hills. 69 head of steers, weighed 906 and $180. Very respectable quote there. How about Burwell Livestock Market in Burwell, Nebraska? 64 head of steers, weighed 488, bring $230.50 a pound right there on the Yellow Brick Road. Fort Pierre Livestock had a stick-out sale. 68 head of yearling steers in a thin flesh condition, weighed 820 and bring $190. But your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day for late last week, come out of Lexington Livestock Market in Lexington, Nebraska. 181 head, 664 pound steers, bring $205.50. That's your feeder flash for Monday.